And that's, they even promoted the boosts for Burning Crusade as, oh, people want to play games now and just pick it up and have fun with their friends. But then they make the fucking Shadowlands the most alt-unfriendly, new player unfriendly, and person that's coming back to the game late unfriendly fucking expansion ever.
Came back to WoW and I had 18k life and people were rocking like 40, so.
Nice.
Well, right now it's even worse. If you come back with the catch-up gear, you'll have like 35, 36k life, and like the highest gear right now has like 85 to 90k.
They instantly kill you and you can't kill them in about 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, the match that made me kind of quit was I did take this Resto Druid down to like 10%. I get rooted and then he convokes to full health just within 1 second.
Look at that healing!
It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Like the game was so much better like back in BC Lich King when like people there wasn't as much healing and there also wasn't as much ridiculous damage. Like when you slowly lost chunks of health was when you could like react to stuff and have actual strategy instead of just like fucking PvEing into somebody and whoever has the better eye level wins. Because like you could outplay somebody in TBC, Wrath of the Lich King, WoD, whatever, or Kata. If you have shitty gear, you could still outplay that guy and maybe win. You have like a chance. I went back on Fiveshot on TBC. He's season 1 Gladiator geared. It's season 3 right now, and I was killing the shit out of people. You cannot do that right now. In like my Paladin had season 1 good gear. He was a heroic and mythic raider. I had really good gear on him. I didn't even stand a chance. And it was season 1 versus season 3 of Shadowlands. So it's way worse than it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm with you there because I was really geared dude before I left. I'm just hoping we have a longer honeymoon phase than we did in this expansion. So I feel like this expansion it was good, and then we got to max level, and then like no content came out, and they weren't doing anything with the game at all, and it just got super stale, super fast because like a lot of their systems just weren't that fun.
The grinds hurt it. Like John said, if you come late into expansion or a patch, it's not worth playing.
Can't come.
Yeah. But like if you come early, it's actually really fun, and especially if you
premature.
But that actually makes it fun because you're like slowly progressing with everybody else, and that's fine. But the thing that really killed the expansion for me is the fact that like slowly progressing with everybody else is fine as long as the gap between where you started and where you are now isn't so insurmountable that you can't have alts. That really killed it for me. They needed to just make you be able to choose your stats. Pure and simple. Like, they have the stats that you have in your gear work as that's the ratios, but it's still, like, you're scaled to a certain eye level in instanced PvP. And, yeah, because, like, Guild Wars went that way. You played League of Legends.
The way Guild Wars does it is all your gear has no stats on it. And then you pick one item that you can get for free, and it has all your stats on it. So whatever stats you want to have, you just buy that one item, and it has all your stats on it, and you get it for free in the PvP vendors.
It just blows my mind that they went backwards, like way further backwards than they should have, because like that's the trend that games are doing now is like you can pick up the game and play and have fun with your friends. And that's they even promoted the boosts for Burning Crusade as, oh, people want to play games now and just pick it up and have fun with their friends. But then they make the fucking Shadowlands the most alt-unfriendly, new player unfriendly, and person that's coming back to the game late unfriendly fucking expansion ever. Fucking, you pick up Overwatch, you play. You pick up Rocket League, you play. You pick up Call of Duty, you play. You pick up fucking Guild Wars 2, you can play it in PvP. I don't get their fucking mentality behind this insane gear gap, and
hell,
it's just stupid.
Yeah, the last expansion was more alt-friendly than in Shadowlands. Not that expansion was any good, but
you couldn't even buy gear in that expansion. You just got it randomly, and it was still more alt-friendly.
You mean Battlefront? We don't know what the fuck this expansion is supposed to be.
Seriously, what a shit fucking expansion! Oh my god!
It's the Battle of Azeroth. Cool, I get to fight the Alliance.
Let's go to.
I remember how excited we were because we thought it was going to be very PvP oriented. Like,
Yeah, and they came out with they came out with war fronts in battle for Azeroth, and nothing had to do with PvP. The only thing we got from that was Seething Shore, which is like the worst battleground they've ever made. It's worse than Strand of the Ancients, dude.
I didn't mind it, honestly.
Dude, you would hate it now. You would really hate it now because what it does is it magnifies the gear gap. It's so gear centric because like you're just thrown in.
Yeah, no, for sure it is. So obviously it's going to be a bad, with the way the gear gap is now. Of course it's going to make it even.
Yeah, I had a pretty good guild in the start of this in Shadowlands, and they're still raiding. They wanted me to come back, but I don't know. We did the we got halfway through Mythic. Castle, but it just seems like worth nothing. Like literally, like I come back and my gear, like catch-up gear, is upgrades to my like mythic gear. It's like okay.
No, I mean that felt. Nothing feels worse than taking off a purple and putting on a green. Like my shit was like Scavenger gear, and then I'm putting on some bootstraps, like some green fucking pieces of leather. I don't know, a fucking ox farted on it once, and now it's magically enchanted.
Okay.
I like that explanation the best. That needs to make it into a video.
Alright guys, so that was the fun conversation with my friends. Here are my final thoughts on it. This is what a geared person can do in rated PvP. This is absolutely disgusting. Now, while it makes for some great clips, they actually get tiring after a while. It's the same combo and the same unhealable amounts of damage. Anytime my combo works and catches somebody off guard, they all start looking like the same clip. If you remember with my old videos, it was less about the damage rotation and combo that I did, and more about the plays that I made, the strategy and reactions to what my opponents did. This enabled fun 1v1 or even 1v2 situations for a dynamic experience. When people's health just chunks or gets healed in less than a second, that sort of compelling gameplay is essentially wiped out. Take this clip for instance. I get this Rusted Druid to 10% health, then he fully heals in less than a second with a Convoke. One button, they win. This isn't fun or interesting. It's not any more interesting than me winning in less than a second because my damage combo caught them off guard, and that was brought on by Bowered Power. Legendaries, Covenant abilities, Soulbinds, and Conduits all combine to exacerbate the problem of the gear gap. Even with similar gear, these borrowed powers throws that balance off so much it's not even fun anymore. And guess what? They just added 5 more things to throw the balance off even further this patch. The trinkets. So much so that the Absorb Shield had to be nerfed, and so did the Burst one. And the silently overpowered one, however, is the one that when popped, prevents the next 2 CC and interrupts for the next 15 seconds. This is absolutely broken in 2v2, where it's crucial to get a sap off on a priest. So focusing a priest just does not work, and which is another issue all by itself. When in the past was it okay for 2 melee to have 100% uptime on a cloth healer, and the person's just standing still and keeping himself near 100% health? This is not compelling gameplay. Remember Athene giving tips about running around the corner and peeling for healers? This is yet another problem with the game as it stands. In classic TBC and Wrath of the Lich King, if you're a healer and you're being focused by melee with 100% uptime for 20 to 30 seconds, you're literally dead. Did this prevent players from bringing healers to arena and BGs? No. They filled their role perfectly. Now let's just take TBC for example here and compare it with retail. Season 1, you had an eye level of 123 from Gladiator gear. Season 3, you had an eye level of 146 from Vengeful Gladiator gear. That's 23 eye levels. That's not an insane amount. It's a clear advantage, for sure. But it's not insurmountable to the point where you can make a billion mistakes and win because of your eye level. And that made it pretty perfect. Each season, also, there was 2 sets. A Battleground set and a Conquest set. Now let's take a look at retail. Season 1, you had an eye level range of 200 to 226 depending on the upgrade level. Season 3, you have an eye level range of 262 to 285 depending on the upgrade level. So, at maximum difference between Season 1 and Season 3, you have an 85 eye level gap. And if you're considering just the base eye level of each, it's 62 eye levels. And if you want to consider the maximum from Season 1 with the minimum of Season 3, that's 36 eye levels at the minimum. Season 3 gear should have just been capped and not upgradable at 262. And anything above that from PvE would just get capped back down to 262. And then BG gear being 239 and upgradable to 250 maybe if you wanted to have that upgrade system to keep people playing, keep that carrot in front of them. And making that upgradable to 250 from BGs with having 262 from arenas, that's 12 eye levels, and that gives a clear advantage, but not one that allows you to make tons of mistakes and win because of your eye level. This would have been a perfect system. I don't think anybody would have complained. You get the advantage if you're doing well. You also get the advantage if you've started out early, and you also don't have absolutely no chance if you come to the game late or if you're new. Anything. This would have been perfect. But instead, they, for some reason, wanted to have an insane gear gap where also the stamina keeps growing exponentially. Not sure why. With all the quality of life changes that Blizzard has been adding to WoW over the years, you would think that this would be among the first thing in priority is to get people to play the game. Like, people would spend more money on boosts and gold for their alts if they were, if they had incentive to play them. You'd buy the WoW token to get, enchants or, some kind of other pieces to, boost your character a bit. If playing your alt didn't feel like an absolute slaughter, it feels awful to play an alt. I don't care how quickly you can get full BG gear, which, by the way, isn't really even competitive with arena gear now. As the season progresses, it's just going to get worse. I don't care how quickly it can take you to get decently geared, but the journey there is so awful that it makes me not want to play at all. And there are countless threads on the Battleground and Arena forums for retail talking about the gear gap. This should be a wake-up call to you, Blizzard. If any of you at Blizzard are listening, maybe you are. I mean, I know you're hearing it from the forums, but you're not actually listening. You want people to play your game. You want people to stay subbed. Keep them, liking the game. I mean, why is that beyond your scope? Yeah, you should make people, want to grind stuff maybe a little bit sometimes in an MMO. Sure, keep that carrot in front of you, but, the price of entry is just so drastically ridiculous. And of course, on top of all of this, you've got the legendary system, which is even more of a grind because everybody else has a legendary that's, going to have an insane advantage over you if you don't have that legendary. Legendaries should not have an effect in PvP at all. I don't even think soulbinds and covenants or conduits should have an effect in PvP. Locking PvP behind a grind other than gear is just asking for people to not want to play your game. But I'll keep trying it out with each update you do, and we'll see what we have there, and I'll give my honest feedback. Hopefully the next expansion's better, but for right now, I know I'm going to be playing Wrath of the Lich King, and that's pretty much about it. So you guys have a good one. See you later.
Well, I missed my trap again because people have the ability.
But you want to continue, Matt?
This is so fucking bad.
Yeah, I'm down.